How hard would it be for conferences to work out a challenge weekend like we have in basketball? Imagine how popular a Big Ten versus ACC weekend slate of games would be. Thanks for the content, hashtag Pate State. That hashtag's important. Put that Pate State in there. It bumps you right to the front of the line. I want this. I want what Jay is asking for. A lot of you have talked about this. In basketball, you just got a random week where all of a sudden it's the Big Ten SEC Challenge and teams from one conference are playing teams from the other conference. How would you do this in football? I don't think it's that difficult to pull off, conceptually. That's like pulling teeth, trying to ever get actual meaningful change in this game. Meaningful change, not change. A lot of stuff changes. Most of the stuff I don't want to change. But this would be good change. I figure you'd have to put this at the beginning of the year. Everyone's playing out of conference games. Usually you're playing out of conference games week one of the season anyway. So why not have partnerships amongst conferences? Why not have, for instance, the SEC and the Big Ten hook up? Now this to me is where you would inject a little bit of competitive balancing within the sport, because what you could have is you could have seeding. You could seed your conference based on last year's results 1 through 14. And therefore, you'd have Bama and Ohio State play to start the year. You'd have Michigan and A&M play to start the year. Penn State versus Georgia to start the year. You know, Michigan State, LSU, Wisconsin, Florida. Now, you may say to yourself, well, that's not fair, because the worse you did the previous year, theoretically, the more advantageous draw you have to start the following year. And that's true. And that would be sort of a very, very, very poor man's version of what the NFL draft does. You win the Super Bowl, you're drafting 32nd in the first round the next year. This wouldn't even be remotely comparable to that in terms of truly handicapping you based on your success, but it would resemble that. We don't have a mechanism like that. Every other mechanism in college football, which I'm fine with, is built to reward success. In fact, I prefer it that way. This is one little thing that we can insert that accomplishes a couple of different goals. Number one, it gets you guys a little bit more competitive balance in theory. But number two, you're guaranteed to give us high quality products to start the year. High quality out of conference products to start the year. And I don't really care where you put the games. I just assume the first 2 weeks, let's say, of the season would be the most prime opportunity, because once you get in conference play, then things aren't congruent. Then you got to worry about the bye weeks. You got to worry about the number of teams you have. A whole bunch of different stuff. Some games are fixed on certain dates. Some teams have to play other teams. So it's a big mess. I'm not a schedule maker for obvious reasons, but I would love to see that. Imagine that. Imagine knowing already your week one opponent based on the way the schedule finishes in the previous season. You're watching rivalry week and you know we just locked up the number 3 seed. We ended up being the number 3 seed. Who's finishing over here? Is that Michigan State? No, Wisconsin. No, Michigan State got it. Okay. That means we're playing Michigan State week one. I guess all at that point you have to figure out is the venue. Maybe neutral site. I'd prefer on campus. But it's a great scenario. There's no one out there that thinks that's a bad idea. Or if you do, I'd love to hear from you. I'm all for what gives us a better product. At the end of the day, this is an entertainment product. That's what it is. I told you this, we went on a little mini rant about this a couple of weeks ago. Everyone says this game is about the players. It's about the fan. Because you got a packed stadium and a middle linebacker walks off the field, you just put another middle linebacker out there. A middle linebacker, it could be 100 of them on the field. If you don't have any fans in the stands, you don't have a product. So this is an entertainment product at its very core. And I would love to have a more entertaining product. That's what I'm looking for. So great question, great idea. We'll probably never see it just because of how great it is.